Hello and welcome, my name is William, and today I wanted to talk about shooting in the UK without an FAC. But what if you want to get into shooting sports in the UK, but you don't have an FAC because you haven't applied for one yet, or for some random reasons you cannot obtain one? And I'm talking from experience because since I was not born in the UK, getting an FAC is much more complicated than for someone who's been born here. But in the meantime, because I wanted to practice, I had to find ways. And so far, I've been shooting for now more than 3 years. I've been able to do a full season of CSR, Civilian Service Rifle, with the NRA at Bisley. And all of this without an FAC. So here is how to do it. If you're shooting occasionally, you have 3 options. The first option is to find a friend who shoots and who can shoot on private land. I have a few friends who go and stalk some deers and go shooting in these conditions, in which case they will be borrowing the firearms of their friends who have access to the land and have the right to stalk deers and shoot deers on that land. The second option is clubs or companies that have access to a certain piece of land and offer the general public to come and shoot in the premises. There's a few clubs and companies in the UK which offer this experience in exchange of a sum of money and which are not limited to 22 long rifle. The third option is to attend a club guest day. But for this you need to know someone personally who is a member of said club and who will be able to invite you on one of the guest days of the club so you can try either their firearms or the firearms owned by the club. It's also important to remember that although you have these 3 options, you will not be able to shoot any kind of firearms people can own in the UK, such as certain shotguns with large capacity magazines or long barrel pistols. If you want to shoot regularly, then your only option is to join a club. The usual process wants that you have a probationary period before you become a full member. So a time between the moment you apply for joining the club and the moment you can actually enjoy all the activities of the club. You hire firearms from the armory, buy ammunition, and book ranges for you to practice. Certain clubs also allow you to take part in competitions. My club, the NRA, for example, organizes all sorts of competitions and all sorts of disciplines, and one I've taken part in, which is CSR, Civilian Service Rifle, takes place within the premises at Bisley. And because of that, I was able to do a full season, 15 matches, and every time renting rifles from the armory and buying my own ammunition. Ammunition I am not allowed to take home, of course. If you have any unused cartridges, you either give them back to the armory or you can gift them to a friend who has an FAC. It has a ticket for that very specific caliber, of course. But then it poses a challenge if you want to compete across the country at national level, for example. In a discipline like PRS, Precision Rifle Series, you have matches organized all over the UK. Since you cannot transport the firearms or the ammunition outside of the premises of the club, you will need to find a club which either can transport firearms and ammunition up to the location where the matches take place. So someone from the club with a valid FAC will need to transport the firearms and ammunition to the various competition sites. With the NRA, for example, a few matches and some activities take place outside of Bisley. So what happens in that case is that when you book your firearm and you order your ammunition, the range officer carries your rifle and the ammunition outside of Bisley. And once you join your RO on location, then he hands you your rifle and your ammunition and you're free to shoot. But of course, it doesn't solve the problem of a competition circuit like PRS, where you have to travel far away and sometimes stay overnight for matches. But one challenge with joining a club is you might not be able to customize a firearm to your liking. Some clubs may allow you to donate a sum of money for them to buy a specific firearm at your request, and which will allow you to customize this firearm for your needs. If your club is attached to a particular discipline, it makes things easy because the RO from the club will be able to travel to different competition locations with your firearm and a certain number of ammunition for you to use during these competitions. The problem is unless you get an FAC and you're able to buy back the firearm from the club, the firearm stays in the club's possession and has to be stored at the premises or wherever it is allowed to be. If not a club, some people use a good friend for the same purposes, a friend who's got an FAC. The challenge is that said friend has to ideally be taking part in the same discipline, the same competitions, because that friend will need to travel with you to these matches so he can hand you over the firearm. Unless you live close to each other or you participate in the same disciplines, this could be a challenge. Not mentioning the fact that your friend will be legally owning the firearms. And if you decide to give them money for whatever purchase, they will have control over whatever money you give them. So yes, it is perfectly possible to shoot and even compete without an FAC. It is a more complicated route because you'll need to find the right clubs, the right people, and you will have to solve these logistic questions about ownership and storage and transport. Should you decide to go for these alternative arrangements, make sure you respect and you're within the law at all times. I hope this video was useful. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, be safe out there.